This is the Brave New Coin Crypto Conversation, hosted by Andy Pickering.
Hi everyone, Andy Pickering here. I'm your host and welcome to the Crypto Conversation, a Brave New Coin podcast where we talk to the people building the future in the Bitcoin, blockchain and cryptocurrency space. Good news, team. We have an exciting new sponsor here at the Crypto Conversation, and well, they are perfectly positioned for today's changing investment environment. Because with market volatility so high and the expected returns for stocks and bonds so low, I tend to agree with the analysts at JP Morgan who have declared that alternative assets are no longer optional. And that is good news for those platforms who can provide access to the top alternative asset classes like Masterworks. Yes, Masterworks.io has solidified itself as the platform for investing in contemporary art. And Masterworks is on a mission to democratize art investing, which is a 1.7 trillion asset class. How do they do this? Well, Masterworks is the first platform to make it possible to purchase shares that represent an investment in multi-million-dollar artworks from iconic artists such as Banksy, Kaws, and Basquiat, all at a price point tailored to you. And since 2017, Masterworks has sold a number of iconic artworks, with each returning over 30% net IRR to investors. Legally, I have to follow that with past performance is no guarantee of future results. Now, if you want to get in early, just go to masterworks.art/cryptoconversations to skip their waitlist. That's masterworks.art/cryptoconversations. And you can see important Regulation A disclosures at masterworks.io/CD. And now it's on with the show. My guest today is Chris Harmse. Chris is the co-founder and managing director of a crypto financial services company, BVNK, which is a bit clever. It looks a little bit like bank, but the A is upside down because it's a V. BVNK is a single platform to bridge fiat and crypto. I think the idea is you can combine your crypto and fiat banking into one place. It sounds kind of convenient. It sounds very crypto forward. Welcome to the show, Chris.
Hi, Andy. Thanks for inviting me, and pleasure to be here.
All right. Hey, pleasure to have you here. And so I was being a little bit facetious in the intro there, but is that kind of the idea with BVNK? It's sort of it looks like bank.
Yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, it really is. But, BVNK is a banking and payments platform built on crypto for the digital economy. That's us in a nutshell. And to your point, we put fiat and crypto banking in a single platform for global businesses to operate at the intersection of fiat and crypto, as we see these two kind of economies starting to converge, and that convergence looks to be accelerating over the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, nice. And, just even looking at your website, which listeners, it is bvnk.com. And yeah, I think there's just something attractive about your logo or your identity, whatever you want to call it, is bank, but there's no A, it's a V. It looks pleasing to the eye, Chris.
I think so. I think there's that A and the V, we're turning banking upside down. With that V, with that A upside down, I think we quite like that. So it's a good brand.
Awesome. It's a good brand. Great. All right. Let's do what we always do at the beginning of the show, Chris. And then we'll learn all about how you are indeed flipping banking upside down, but revolutionizing the space. I like it a lot, Chris. Before we do that, please introduce yourself. Love to hear a little bit about your background, where you're from, what you've been doing in the lead up to BVNK.
Sure. So, I mean, maybe you can tell by the accent, but originally born and raised in South Africa.
Yes.
Came over to London about a year ago. But, a bit of background on me, kind of always been in the traditional financial markets. I did investments, at uni, and then I did a chartered financial analyst qualification and spent a large chunk of my time on sales and trading desks at global investment banks. And I did quite a few different things. I did cross assets. So I did equities trading, as well as FX, emerging market FX and interest rates, which gave me a good kind of cross asset exposure, and then also kind of emerging market FX, which is OT and OTC type markets, which is very akin to crypto today. And then also the exchange traded piece from the equity side. After that, left banking to kind of head into the asset management space. So went from the sell side to the buy side and spent time managing money. And that's really where I got into cryptos. I joined a co-founder, and we started a hedge fund out in South Africa. And through that, we were looking at crypto assets. We were trading, arbitrage, the South African arbitrage premium back in late 2016, early 2017. And then, we're managing money through the space, and launched a kind of a crypto fund alongside the hedge fund through 2017 into that kind of retail boom. And then from there, the hedge fund sadly didn't work, but from, the next kind of iteration of that was working in multi-asset fund space, managing traditional financial assets. But once you work and look at the crypto asset class, everything else becomes quite boring. So I was always looking to get into something new, get back into crypto full time, and joined, BVNK in 2020, in March 2020, when we were just about 8 of us, and we were starting with one product, our cross-border payments product built on stable coins, and really have built the business out since then. It's been an exciting ride, and we're now 120 people, and keep going strong.
Wow, yeah, that's quite a journey, and I love, Chris, that you talk about being on both the buy and sell side, and I suppose the traditional capital markets. And then, I really relate when you say that, because I actually say the same thing a lot just on this very podcast, Chris, is that, once you kind of get exposure to crypto and perhaps dip your toe down the Bitcoin rabbit hole, everything else just does start to look a little bit boring by comparison, which sounds like that's what happened. Yeah. You said you've got 120 people or something on the team already, so you guys are obviously growing fast. So do you want to just expand on, I guess, the origin story for BVNK and, what it is you're actually trying to do?
Sure, yeah. I mentioned I joined BVNK in March 2020, and to set up and, I guess, professionalize the FX and OTC crypto trading desk. And then we built that out. And as we started to scale or find product market fit in our first core product, which you'll see the journey was really started as a emerging market payments company. And we, expanded that into global banking and payments platform. And our first product was really a cross-border payments product using stable coins as the bridge. So effectively you would on-ramp in one market and you'd off-ramp in another market, and you'd show a client a fiat to fiat rate, but you were using stable coins and replacing that with Swift. So at its core, our first product really was built on, using the Ethereum blockchain instead of the Swift network to solve, the payments headache that exists around the world. And, we quickly found product market fit with that. We launched with one currency, and, we can now do 30 plus currencies. We launched with one client. We've got over 150 corporate clients. To be clear, we only service business customers. So we're a, business banking platform. But through that kind of payments lens, we built out the cross-border payments business that obviously had an element of OTC transactions. So they're just, buying and selling of crypto as well for fiat. We launched a crypto payment gateway. So that, we're very excited about. That's effectively allowing traditional merchants, so traditional fiat-based businesses, to start accepting crypto payments. That's an API-driven product. It's part of our payments API suite of products. And that's a really exciting one from us. That now opens, global merchants and e-commerce and everything up ours to really starting to transact and use crypto on a daily basis. So that's, again, the kind of payments element of the business. And then what we have launched is our business bank account, which now anchors the entire platform. And that business bank account really expands us from a payments company built on crypto or using crypto to a banking and payments platform, built on crypto. So we really put fiat and crypto banking into the same platform. And now you can, as you said, you can take care of your crypto banking needs. If you're a crypto company, you can take care of your traditional banking needs as well inside the platform and interact with those assets. Doesn't matter what your treasury looks like or your business operations around the world.
Yeah, got it. And so, Chris, you said you're based in the UK, and I think BVNK is based or founded in the UK, but I'm sure you've got people around the world and different markets, different sectors. So who is this service or product? Who is it aimed at? So I think you talked about, I think it was a little bit institutional. Is that correct?
Yeah, we like to classify our client base into two broad categories. One, are really crypto curious businesses, and the others are crypto native. And the crypto curious piece is where we found and we built our business to date, and that's taking crypto and crypto banking to traditional motives. So, these are kind of fintechs, payment companies that are our clients, and these are business operating in multiple currencies in multiple jurisdictions and are struggling with cross-border payments, wanting to integrate. They're sniffing around crypto. How do I accept crypto payments as an e-com platform? And that's really, where we term them crypto curious businesses, and we're bringing those businesses to crypto. So we sat at that intersection, bringing traditional businesses to crypto. And then on the other side is the crypto native businesses. These are the businesses born in crypto native. Some of them are operating in a fully decentralized way, but they still need a link back into the fiat economy to operate their business on a day-to-day. And we sat there bringing crypto native companies back to the traditional economy. So we've carved out this really nice niche in the mid market or SME corporate segment, because in our view, the retail market on the far left has really been won by the big players. If you look at the kind of, crypto adoption cycles, that 2017 cycle was really, and the companies born in that cycle have led to the winners and the multi-billion-dollar companies today, the Coinbases of the world, the Binances that really took that retail market and made it their own. And then on the other end, you have the institutional market, which is looking more and more like large crypto investment banks, if you want to call them that, popping up and serving those customers. Those customers have $5 million minimums. And again, that kind of mid-market corporate who just gets kind of locked out of in between. They don't want to sit in a 10,000 person retail queue with a big retail platform, and they can't meet the minimums of an institutional market. And we've squarely taken up that. And in my view, if the first wave of crypto adoption was retail in that 2017 boom, the second wave was institutional in 2020, where the crypto infrastructure was laid in 2018 by some of the custodial players and some of the infrastructure companies that were laying that in the crypto winter of 2018 and 2019. We saw the institutional adoption. So those two segments are really kind of covered. There's obviously a lot of room to grow just generally, but we think the third wave of adoption is really corporate adoption. And this is corporates and global businesses using the power of crypto assets in their business. And we've really positioned ourselves there for that next wave of corporate adoption and are seeing really significant traction to date.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. And I'm sure there are probably quite a few organizations, businesses and individuals too, Chris, that kind of fit that category, and they may even have already deployed some capital into crypto assets, even a few years ago, and now they're holding these positions, but there's not necessarily enough service providers with the right treasury solutions for those organizations today, right?
Yeah, I very much, echo that. I think, the market has evolved so quickly, and a lot of these, crypto native companies have sprung up. A lot of them are organizing in new ways, like DAOs, something that's not really been done before. There's lots of innovation happening in the space. It moves, at a frenetic pace. And unfortunately, you end up with a multitude of service providers, a few in fiat, a couple of trading platforms to source liquidity, one or two payment companies to try do fiat processing for your crypto platform, and it becomes really difficult to manage. And I think really a core to that we're seeing, we really bring all of that into one platform, and that single platform solves, a proper headache for treasurers and CFOs, using our platform, and they get great value out of being able to do everything in one place. They get great value out of the reconciliation that happens to that. Some of the value-added services and reporting we've added around the account to date and continue to add. So I think, that whole proposition of, if you take a wider look at the kind of crypto economy and how it's transformed, if you look at traditional assets, there's only really two trading venues to trade stocks in the US. It's the NYSE and the NASDAQ. In crypto, you've got hundreds of fragmented liquidity venues. You've got exchanges, you've got market makers, but they're all trading fungible assets around the world. So you've got to bridge borders, you've got to bridge a multitude of things. And by bringing all that into one place, it helps crypto companies navigate that and takes away the operational burden of having to manage several service providers at once.
Yeah, again, makes sense, Chris. And look, we talked about how you guys are, the idea is to kind of flip banking on its head. And, so we'll talk about that. But in some ways, you could argue, and the fintech guys would argue that that's kind of already happened in terms of what the neobanks or the challenger banks, whatever you want to call that segment of the market. But I think, crypto people often say, well, that's kind of that's just a UI thing, but everything under the hood is still the same. Whereas crypto assets are actually, a revolution, I guess, at the core infrastructure level. How do you think about that?
Yeah, so this is something that is kind of near and dear to my heart, given I worked on a spot FX desk, emerging market FX desk, and watched global money move around the world when I was when I was in my banking days. And you could see payments getting lost due to the SWIFT network. You could see pre-funded liquidity pools. If you look at how correspondent banking works, you really have to pre-fund. It's a very capital inefficient way to operate the global financial system, where you have pools of liquidity trapped on either side, and a lot of the time money just stuck in the piping and no one can really trace it or find it for several days. So you've got all these inefficiencies in that base layer infrastructure, and that's just the way the system was initially designed, and then many things built on top of that. Fintechs came around, and neobanks about 10 years ago when you started seeing the rise of these guys, and they really did change the banking experience. I mean, some of the neobanks today, it's chalk and cheese of what you get from your traditional, I guess, high street bank versus some of the neobanks, the experience, the ease of use. But they're all still operating on that base layer of infrastructure that still has the piping issues, that still needs to pre-fund. If you're a traditional fintech payments company, you still need to pre-fund 2 liquidity pools to give the look and feel of an instant cross-border payment. Where in actual fact, it's a money swap to liquid, and they use their own liquidity to give you that instant feel. So the UX and CX is great, but the underlying issues have not been fixed or not rectified or not innovated on. Whereas enter crypto, and this is really at its core where, enter crypto and largely stable coins come into play and becoming the settlement currency of the internet. And that has really changed, where you now get full and final settlement on the blockchain, and assets are physically actually moving on the blockchain instead of being stuck in pipes or using your own, 2 kind of pre-funded liquidity pools. So you unleash an enormous amount of capital that's been stuck in the pipes. So you run a more capital efficient business, you run a more capital efficient system, and you get to kind of innovate from kind of core principles again, where, okay, now we've got this core infrastructure that has been improved. How can we now build better products on top of that? And I think that's where you've seen a lot of the innovation in crypto happening, in the DeFi space, reimagining banking from first principles on better infrastructure, and then you've seen subsegments of DeFi. But, stable coins for me is a core one, because, we really have used that innovation to build our cross-border payments network.
Yeah, so really what you're talking about is it's kind of the merge of traditional finance and crypto, the converging, if you like. So this is all it's taking place at the moment with, I suppose, new platforms like BVNK, right, Chris?
100%. It's our firm belief at BVNK, and, it's our mission to really assist this convergence of, traditional financial systems and crypto economies or crypto financial systems, because they're kind of still operating in silos. As I was, saying, you've got to still, the way we position ourselves, we bring in traditional businesses to crypto and crypto businesses back into fiat. But, in the next 5 to 10 years, there's going to be an accelerating convergence of, improvements and infrastructure upgrades for how our financial piping works. And blockchain is going to be at the core of that. And, we really positioned to kind of, assist, and do our part and kind of assist that convergence and really build products and solve problems and, create use cases for to solve kind of real world problems, and actually use crypto to solve real world problems in the financial system, and not just used as a speculative asset, which I think a lot of mainstream media and mainstream, the attention in the mainstream media really focuses on.
Yeah, that's right. Well, you've been on the other side of this, Chris. You do come from, I suppose, the traditional banking system. And to be fair, while it's easy for people, on the crypto side of the fence to say, "Hey, look, we're reinventing banking, we're disrupting the global financial system," and sure, I suppose we are, right? But what do you think the attitude is? On the other side of the fence, like, do your old colleagues agree with this picture that we're painting, or does it happen over a slightly longer time frame, and it's just kind of inevitable?
I mean, that's a good question, and I think it's not, it can't happen in isolation. We need everyone on both sides to be, coordinated to accelerate this, and I think you're definitely seeing that happen. 3 to 4 years ago, even 2 years ago, when we started it, the conversations were not fluid. And then you saw that 2020 push and the rise of institutional adoption, all banks and financial institutions having some sort of crypto strategy or some sort of crypto working group to just even understand the technology. You've seen some forward-thinking financial institutions like, Fidelity and a few of the others really take a big dive into crypto assets. And I think that continues to happen. And what's really exciting to see for me is the brain drain that's happening from traditional finance into crypto. So you're getting a lot of people and with knowledge of how the system works, intimate knowledge, 20-year career veterans of how traditional finance works, the frustrations they felt, not too dissimilar to me. And then also seeing the technology and how it can actually disrupt and solve some of those problems and frustrations they had in the traditional system, bringing that knowledge, but then also to crypto, and then also being able to step back and have those conversations because they were part and parcel of that industry for, 20 odd years. So you need people in crypto that can speak, I guess, the TradFi language. And I think there's more and more of those people coming in, and you're seeing them permeate into the top of some of the big crypto companies globally. And that's really moving the industry forward.
Yeah, that is very much the case. And look, you say on your website, Chris, that BVNK launched in October 2021 with the aim of making digital asset-based financial services more accessible so that even non-experts can enjoy the benefits. So if that's the case, if you were to start with a kind of like a blank slate and design a contemporary banking platform from first principles, to operate in a kind of a crypto Web3 world, what are some of the things that you'd do, and what are some of the services you'd provide? I know you've already talked about some of this, but I guess it's just good. It's just good for us all to kind of hear it again as you lay it out.
Yeah, so I think at its core, if your view on, thinking through first principles and building the neobank for the future, you really have to, start with how do we get fiat and crypto banking into the same platform, which is not an easy thing to do. And once you get that as a first step, you can then and core to your platform. So I guess you have to break it down into the core pillars of the platform. So you've got the fiat banking piece, you've got the trading, or I guess you rather call it the liquidity piece. How do you actually get the liquidity, whether that's the crypto liquidity or the fiat liquidity, into the platform? Who do you partner with? Where do you source that liquidity? And then the third piece, I guess, is how do you keep the crypto assets safe? So custody. So you've got your fiat on one side, the liquidity, how you bridge between the two, if you want to use that as the liquidity piece. And then the last piece is really the custody piece. And, we've partnered with several custodians in the space that provide our infrastructure, leading custodians that provide our wallet and node infrastructure to keep those crypto assets safe, as well as provide us, easy access to add new blockchains and support new blockchains, as well as new crypto assets. Then the liquidity piece, as I mentioned earlier, you've got this fragmented nature of crypto asset liquidity. So you need to plug into several venues to source that liquidity. You need to do the same thing for fiat liquidity or FX liquidity. That's still how the FX market works today. There's a multitude of big market makers. A lot of them are the tier one banks from the FX piece. And then on the other side, you've got to say, okay, how do I provide fiat banking rails and a real, a real core, can the system do what it says on the box? Can it make third-party payments? Can it receive payments? And once you have those three core pillars at the base, you can then start building and blending those together to solve customer problems. And that's really what we've done. We've got the core platform in place. We've got the right partners in place for each one of those verticals. And now we have started, blending that together to then anchor the whole platform by the business account that allows, third-party payments, first-party payments, and that full banking experience. You then say, okay, now how do you bridge between fiat and crypto? That needs to be easy. That's bringing the liquidity into it. And then all the while, how do I keep the fiat and crypto assets safe, for the long term? And that's really where the custodial, pieces come into play. So it's really like breaking it down into those three core pillars, building the platform that makes it easy to then build scalable products on top of. And, if you take that sort of build it from the ground up approach, you can iterate very quickly on product innovation and also respond quickly to new, I guess, pain points in the market that then, you're allowed to kind of blend those three pillars together to solve for.
Makes sense, Chris. All right. Well, can you talk about anything that's in, I suppose, the product pipeline, or any kind of, even just like features that you'd love to see made available through BVNK, even a year or two down the line? What does the future look like? What are you guys working on?
So we're very hard at work, and it's very an exciting piece. We're very hard at work on an MVP of an open banking on-ramp. So it's an addition and expansion of our payments API product. So currently our payments API allows traditional merchants to accept crypto assets and be settled in fiat. The next iteration through this one API will be, one API will now allow you to, go from fiat to crypto assets. So provide a fiat on-ramp via open banking. So that is no longer the old credit card processing fees and kind of on-ramping into crypto through paying 3% credit card fees to some of the products out there in market. But it's really going from an open banking point of view, where you're actually on-ramping through your open bank. It uses open banking to fetch fiat out of a bank account and kind of settles and converts that to crypto. So that expands our payments API. That, I think, is we're seeing some good early traction with a lot of the NFT platforms and a few other tokenization platforms about really interested in this product. How do they go from fiat straight to NFT, or how do they go from fiat straight to their token on their platform if they're a tokenization platform, instead of having to send users or end users away to go buy Ethereum, come back, convert that. So I think it changes the customer experience completely, and that's something we're really excited about. The MVP is being worked on at the moment. We should have something out in the next quarter, and then it's really about taking that to market and responding to customer demand and tweaking that product. So that's something we're really excited about near term.
Sounds good, Chris. And look, I'd be interested in just your thoughts, I suppose, on the kind of the wider macro crypto markets, or even just crypto in general. What are the trends in crypto that you personally excited by? Are you an NFT guy? Are you a trader? Are you an Ethereum head? Are you a Solana guy? What's exciting you at the moment? What are you following?
Yeah, I mean, there's always a lot going on. I think, we've kind of been in a sideways market for the last year, but that doesn't mean the innovation doesn't keep moving forward. I'm very much, I look at crypto through the lens of kind of 4 core killer apps, if you want to call them that. First was Bitcoin, which effectively birthed the blockchain and has had evolving narratives through time. I'm still, I wouldn't call myself a Bitcoin maximalist, but I'm definitely down the Bitcoin, a core believer in Bitcoin and what it's done for the whole industry and that sort of thing. The second piece is really what's very interesting to me at the moment is what's happening in the stablecoin space. So naturally, I've been in the rabbit hole, or deep down the rabbit hole, about what stablecoins can do. We built a business and a product on top of centralized stablecoins. But what's really interesting to me at the moment is what's happening in the algorithmic stablecoin space is, we still have centralized risk in these centralized stablecoins. And if we want to run a decentralized financial economy, you need some sort of decentralized money that is stable. And I think some of the stuff that's going on with Terra Luna and their stablecoin UST, as well as what Near Protocol's about to just launch their own stablecoin. So that really algorithmic stablecoin wars is a really interesting place that I'm spending a lot of time in at the moment. So that would, for me, be the second use case. And then I break the other two up into DeFi. And then the last one, really, NFTs. Those are like the 4 killer apps for me in crypto that solve real world use cases. So, I'll leave NFTs for another day. But in terms of the DeFi space, coming from traditional finance, it's a really exciting space to be in. There's so much going on. And the innovations there and what they're doing in the kind of modular way to think about financial services, and then being able to piece those together to, on top of each other to kind of build novel and new kind of financial primitives really is really interesting to me.
Yeah, well, I agree, and I like that, Chris. Actually, I like the way you frame that as the 4 killer apps. If Bitcoin obviously just being the the biggest, most trusted, most decentralized, most censorship-resistant store of a digital scarcity ever known to humanity, and likely ever to be known to humanity. So no one can mess with Bitcoin. And then you talk about stablecoins, absolutely fascinating use case. DeFi, again, absolutely fascinating. And of course, NFTs, completely different, but a completely different product market fit, and bringing a whole new segment of the market into crypto. And it all speaks to different waves of adoption, right?
100%. And they all solve for slightly different things, but that doesn't, but they are 100%, innovations on what we had, and, they'll keep innovating, and new things will keep getting built on top of these, using these killer apps, so to speak.
Superb. All right, let's finish off this part of the podcast. Then we'll come back. We'll finish off. We'll have some fun. We'll run you through the very famous crypto conversation hot take round, Chris. But before we do that, just give a shout out to BVNK.com. Just for anyone listening that's interested in the kind of services that you and your team are building and providing. Tell people where they should go, what they should do, any restrictions, anything like that.
Yeah, you can find all the information on our website at bvnk.com. You can reach out to any of us in the sales team. The guys will come out. The guys will be in contact and walk you through the process. And it's as simple as that. Check us out on bvnk.com. And if there's anything we can do for you, then please reach out.
Awesome. All right, let's go to a break, and then we'll come back. We'll do what we always do. We'll finish off with the very famous crypto conversation hot take round. Back in 1 second.
Here's what's being said about Masterworks.
My name is Jacob N. I'm from Long Island, and I've invested over $73,000 with Masterworks. My portfolio performance just wasn't cutting it. I researched all these alternative investments, like crypto and NFTs, but they didn't make sense to me. Then I read about Masterworks in Forbes, and I signed up right away. And now you can too. Thanks, Masterworks.
Get VIP access at masterworks.io and use promo code JACOB. See important disclosures at masterworks.io/DC.
All right, we are back, and I'm with Chris Harmse. He is the co-founder and managing director of BVNK. Quite a fascinating new crypto financial services company. Basically a platform to bridge fiat and crypto together in all sorts of very interesting ways. Looks very cool. But Chris, as you may or may not know, I like to finish each podcast with a quick round of rapid-fire crypto conversation hot takes. Are you up for it?
Let's do it.
Let's do it, Chris. All right, just quick, snappy answers, hot take style. You know how we roll. Question 1, you've kind of already answered, but let's go for it. Where would you say that you sit on the Bitcoin maximalist to multi-chain opportunist spectrum?
I would probably say I'm leaning probably on the 50-50 piece.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. What would you say is your firmest conviction crypto opinion, Chris?
That we are going to live in a multi-chain world.
Yes, nice. All right. Bill Gates famously said that we tend to overestimate what we can accomplish in 2 years and underestimate what we can accomplish in 10. So, with that in mind, anything you like here, Chris, Bitcoin, blockchain in general, Web3, what does it look like in 10 years' time?
Bitcoin has a larger market cap than gold, and the entire crypto economy is north. I want to say it's north of the the top 10 large tech companies combined.
Yes, you got to be bullish. I like it. All right. Well, sci-fi author William Gibson said that the future is already here. It's just not evenly distributed. With that in mind, Chris, can you think of an example of the future being here right now, but most people just aren't really aware of it?
I think, I'm going to go back to kind of cross-border payments and stablecoins. I think we are, currently operating a business, running on new financial infrastructure. And I think there's just so many people that are still sat very unaware that this is actually happening right alongside how they move money traditionally around the world.
No doubt, that is for sure. Okay, as we start to finish off, time to zoom out, time to get a little bit weird for just a second. What do you see as the long-term future of the human race, Chris? Do you see dystopia or utopia?
Definitely utopia. I'm a human optimist, or an optimist at heart, and with Elon putting rockets or looking to build a colony on Mars, I think he hasn't been wrong to date. So let's see where that goes.
He hasn't been wrong to date, has he? Well, I don't know. Has he? Are you on Twitter? Is he? Is that a good move, buying Twitter by Elon?
I think so. I think he is leading free speech for the whole world with that move.
Yeah. All right. Finally, Chris, what is your favorite science fiction book, film, show, or universe?
Lost would probably be my favorite science fiction show.
Oh, controversial choice. I don't know if anyone's ever chosen Lost before. Lost was great first season, but all went a bit custard, didn't it? No?
Okay. I kept you guessing and kept you on the edge of your seat.
It certainly did. All right. Hey, this has been excellent, Chris. Really enjoyed talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Nothing else to do except hand the metaphorical microphone back to your good self. Again, please tell the people where they can find you on Twitter or wherever else you like to hang out on the internet. And of course, one more time, where they can go to learn about BVNK.
Cool. Thanks, Andy. It's been great to chat to you today. You can find us at bvnk.com. You can find me on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Most active on LinkedIn, but my Twitter handle is @Chris_89. Come say hi.
Awesome. Thanks very much, Chris. All the best, and bye for now.
Cheers, Andy.
There you go. That was Chris Harmse from BVNK. Yeah. Interesting to see the rise of these new platforms really taking crypto deep into the financial rails of the world. Very interesting to see. Controversial choice at the end there by Chris going for Lost. It's not a controversial choice. It's not a bad choice. Lost was a bloody great show, wasn't it? Great show. Until the end there. But that's fair. Good show. Compelling, very interesting. No one knew what was happening for a long time. Always a sign of a good show. All right. Well, thank you, team. This was that was the show for today. Thanks for listening. And don't forget to subscribe to the Crypto Conversation in whatever podcast app you are using. Please give us a nice rating on Apple iTunes. All that good stuff. But that's today's show. Cheers. This was the Crypto Conversation for Brave New Coin.